Hi friends, and welcome to my channel where we mainly discuss thrillers on Thursdays, and today I just have a good old-fashioned book haul for you, most of the books of which are right behind me here. I will say first, on an entirely unrelated and also selfish note, it has taken 27 years, but I finally, very subtly, did dye my hair. I got balayage at the ends to make it lighter, and it is dry as hell. I know a lot of you guys out there dye your hair, so if you have any tips on just making it less dry and brittle, please let me know. So the first book I wanted to talk about is this gorgeous one right here, and that is the Illustrated Herbiary Guidance and Rituals from 36 Bewitching Botanicals by Maya Toll. And you guys know I get Book of the Month books every month, but aside from that, it's pretty rare for me to accept books for review. But this was just so absolutely stunning. I posted some close-up shots of it on my Instagram, but this is a bit as if someone combined their love of plants with also their love of tarot cards, because although they're not technically tarot cards, there are cards that are equally as stunning as the rest of the book that I should go ahead and clip apart. I don't know why, I'm scared too. But as you can see, the pictures are just beautiful, and it goes through 36 different plants and some information behind them, and it's supposed to be sort of a meditative book as well. But you guys know this isn't generally the type of thing I would sit down and read, but I just will sit there, and when I'm in a bad mood, sometimes I will just open it up. I mean, just look at some of this. And each plant also has a little section where it talks about some reflections you can do. So this is different than you guys know what I would generally talk about, but I just cannot get over, oh, there are even more cards. I just cannot get over how stunning and unique this book is. I also just feel like that if it's someone's birthday or maybe just is a nice fall gift, because I don't know why this just screams fall to me, I recommend picking it up. But again, this isn't sponsored. They did send it to me and they just said I could talk about it if I wanted to, but I love it that much that I just really wanted to highlight this first just because I'm that obsessed with it. It sits out on my coffee table. I'm in love. And the next couple that I wanted to talk about are both semi-related to BookNet Fest. So this is gonna be my BookNet Fest book category, which I've talked about before. I've been to BookNet Fest both of the years it's happened. It's only happened the past 2 years. Mari from My Name is Martinez and Sam from Thoughts on Tomes both host it, but I cannot get over how welcoming and inclusive BookNet Fest is. I highly recommend looking into it if you haven't gone previously. One thing that I like is that they emphasize that this is a way to meet other booktubers, book bloggers, or even people who don't have channels who just love reading. But one thing that I love is that the emphasis of going to BookNet Fest is not to just stand in long lines and run around and try and grab ARCs. Because when you really think about it, are you saving that much money when you're waiting in line to get a bunch of ARCs when you paid that much for a flight there and everything like that? Probably not. So they just had a couple and you could choose one. And so I, not surprisingly, went for the one about murder. And how do we know it's about murder? Because there are branches on the cover. So this is by Lauren Oliver, and it's a young adult mystery called Broken Things. And it's about two best friends who, when I think it's they're 13 years old, their third friend in their friend group is murdered, and everyone kind of thinks that they did it because of their obsession with a novel called The Way into Lovelorn. But as it says on just the very back, they are not the killers, and around, I don't know if it says the anniversary, but something occurs where I think they are forced to try and solve what happened to their friend. I'm gonna admit my only experience with Lauren Oliver is Delirium, which I was not a huge fan of, but just because of the premise, I am pretty interested in this one. And the next book, I don't have a physical copy to show because it's coming in the mail, but this was the only time I had in the week to film this video, so I didn't want to wait and not get this video up on Thursday, but that is Chemistry. And so I was on the mental health panel at BookNet Fest, but one of my friends, Joss from over at Scobles Reads, I'll have her channel linked down below. She was also on the panel and she highly recommended this book. And this is about a girl who, it says 3 years into her graduate studies at a demanding Boston University, just has this extreme amount of pressure from school that mounts, I have the summary written down below, that's why I'm looking down. It mounts so high that she must leave everything she thought she knew about her future hero and herself behind. So super interested about this one, and I just really trust Joss's taste in books overall. So now I'm gonna go quickly through the book of the month books, and then I have one other book to talk about. The first one is The Mermaid and Mrs. Hancock, and originally when I glanced at this one I thought, oh, this sounds like a lovely sweet little book about a mermaid, but when you look more into the book, it really emphasizes that it is not that kind of book. This is not a sweet little book about a mermaid. It seems like the mermaid in this book is like small and gnarled with like nails, but you guys know I'm all for a darker take on anything, so I appreciate that. But this one, it seems like a sweeping saga in 18th century London when a man comes across a mermaid, and the impression I get is that the story is less about the mermaid itself and how this discovery of the mermaid causes a lot of other things to happen, so seems really interesting and unique. And this next one is, out of all 5 of these, the one that I am most intrigued by, and you guys know that I always have a code. It is an affiliate link. I'm very upfront about that, but if you do want to pick out one of these for $5, I do have that link down below. But this is the one I'm most interested in, and it is The Silence of the Girls. The brief synopsis is: a queen of Troy is caught between Achilles and Agamemnon when she is captured and forced into slavery in this ferocious retelling of the Iliad. So I got so excited when I read that, and so what I'm assuming this is told from the point of view of Rose Byrne's character from Troy the movie. Someone can correct me if I'm wrong, but apparently it's about her being captured, her being in captivity, and bonding with the other women who are also slaves. So I'm just so intrigued by this, and it also just seems very different than anything else I read. So hopefully this one lives up to my own hype. The next book is called Fashion Victim, and when I read a little bit about this one, it seemed slightly reminiscent of maybe Luckiest Girl Alive, but this takes place in the fashion world, and one girl is obsessed with another socialite, and they're both vying for the same job, and I think one eventually decides, this is just the vibe I get, I'm not spoiling anything, this is just how I'm feeling this book is gonna go, but I get the vibe that one is trying to murder the other, and it says that there's a lot of literal backstabbing. So whenever I see books like this, I think it could go really well and be really sarcastic and witty and fun and dark and acerbic, or it could be trash. So we'll see one way or the other, but I'm curious if you guys have read this. It also came with these little nail snaps, which it says are wraps that you file on, and they're supposed to last for a really long time. So I think that I'm gonna use these ones that are inspired by the cover of the book. I think when I go to Japan, which is only a little over a week away, which is just absolutely insane to me, and yes, I will be vlogging it. I've been wanting to go since I was like 4 years old. I'm so excited. But anyway, I think I'm gonna wear these because hopefully they'll last longer than normal nail polish. And then I also don't have to pay for a manicure. And the next book is a thriller, and surprisingly no branches on the cover, but this is Cross Her Heart. And I was trying to find out about this book, but I couldn't find a ton of information. But one thing I did hear about this that kind of intrigued me was that the person who recommended this said that it was a little bit reminiscent of Behind Her Eyes, which I really enjoyed. It wasn't my favorite thriller of all time, and it's hard to describe why I enjoyed it without giving away the ending, so I'm not going to say anything about it that'll spoil anything, but I will just say that it kind of flips the concept of a thriller on its head, and the ending really blew me away. I know it angered some people just because it was so out there, but they said that this book is not similar to Girl on a Train, not similar to anything by Gillian Flynn, but if they had to compare it to any other thriller, it would be Behind Her Eyes, and that's what kind of intrigued me, just because that was such a unique thriller, so that's what kind of piqued my interest around this one. And the final book, this is not a book of the month book, this is a book that someone else gave to me. Feels very odd to say because this isn't a phrase that I've said in like 5 years, but my boyfriend gave me this book because he really loves it and he wanted me to read it. But this is Daemon, and it's a high-tech thriller, and I hadn't heard of this before, and I was like, oh, maybe it's kind of an underrated book, and then I saw it has like 34,000 reviews on Goodreads, so apparently this just shows how out of touch I am when it comes to sci-fi, because apparently this is hugely popular. I even heard that it's going to be made into a movie. I'm sure one of you out there has read it, so if you know my taste in books, this is outside the realm of what I normally read. Do you think I would enjoy it? I definitely am gonna check it out because he thinks I will like it. I'm starting to sweat, and I don't know if it's because I said the word boyfriend or because I had to turn the AC off to film this video. So I hope you guys enjoyed this book haul. I thought it was a pretty good mix of different types of books. I hope you guys are having a wonderful rest of the week, and as I'm amping up to head head to Tokyo. Please let me know any recommendations for things to do, day trips to do. I'm gonna be going on a mother-daughter trip, which I'm really excited about. We're doing it all 100% on our own. So if you have any tips for places to go or just overall advice for traveling to Japan, please let us know. We would very much appreciate it. So I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of the week, and I'll see you next Thursday. Bye.